This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Coming up on the South today, will they or won't they? Dunedin City Councillors debate the establishment of a community hub for South Dunedin. A race caller celebrates 4 decades in the job and says it's not the horses or dogs that have left a lasting impression on him. And we take a look at the activities many indulged in yesterday to celebrate a moon festival. Good evening, I'm Rebecca Dupree. City councillors are debating where to establish a community hub in South Dunedin. It's been a long talked about initiative, and today the council has been split over whether to further delay decisions. But staff have a preferred option they want to see pursued.
Debating South Dunedin's proposed community hub, Dunedin City Councillors are deciding whether to approve a plan by staff to establish a 3-site facility in King Edward Street. It's one of several options arising from lengthy investigation and community consultation. But Councillor Lee Vandervis thinks the decision should be deferred for the new council voted in at next month's local body elections. He says residents he's spoken with don't have enough information.
They thought of it, a lot of them hadn't had a chance to look at the options. The few that had had a chance to look at the options questioned things like how do you connect the gasworks to the BNZ proposed hub.
He proposed a motion to defer the decision, which was voted down 7-6, with 2 councillors absent. The report presented to council recommends a 3-site community hub. Councillors seeking re-election and those leaving asked many questions of staff, including what residents wanted in a hub.
Top of the list in terms of what we wanted to be in the new idea of this community hub, where a community learning centre, a youth hub, a bike library, a community hot desk, community meeting room space, public toilets and a carers room.
The multi-use facility could potentially branch across 3 blocks of the southern city. However, detailed design plans aren't due to be on any agenda until next year. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
The Labour Party is celebrating its centenary with a week-long public program in Dunedin, starting with speeches and events for Women's Suffrage Day. MPs Karen and Jacinda Ardern were at the community gallery this morning, where there was a suffrage breakfast and presentations. Today is the 123rd anniversary of New Zealand becoming the first self-governing colony in the world to give all women the right to vote in parliamentary elections. Simultaneously, Labour is holding an exhibition and events at the community gallery all week for its centenary. Party leader Andrew Little attended today, and several other MPs will be joining local leaders and academics for events throughout the week. Southland race commentator Dave McDonald was in the box at Ascot Park at the weekend, 40 years after he called his first race there. The New Zealand Racing Board organised a function to celebrate his achievement, with many of his colleagues past and present joining in. And after so long on the job, he says it's not the horses or the dogs that have had the most impact.
Race 8 on the cards at Ascot Park was the Thanks Davy Mac for 40 years mobile pace, and Davy Mac himself was calling it. He grew up living at the Winton Racecourse and says his early love of commentating drove his mum round the bend. There was a trip to Forbury Park when he was 15 that gave him his first break.
The local trainer, Harry Cox, he said there was no commentator, and he said, well, you think you can do it, kid? Get up the stairs and have a go. So I did. I was totally terrified, but I knew it's what I wanted to do.
McDonald makes the call for harness, gallops and greyhound meetings and enjoys all 3 codes. He's not exactly sure how many races he's commentated, but estimates it to be a staggering 35,000. It's a job that requires a sharp, short-term memory.
And nothing goes to plan, as you know, in life, and there's probably about 6 of those I'd rather do again. But I guess 6 out of 35,000 is not a bad strike rate.
The New Zealand Racing Board organised a celebration at Ascot Park, bringing together McDonald's former colleagues, along with current callers and presenters. He says it's the people he's met and worked with over the years that have brought him the most enjoyment.
They are such wonderful people, and they were so good to me early on when I started out. I was a kid. I mean, I knew nothing about gallops. They didn't put me down. They made sure I learnt, and they were just so nice to me. People like Brian Anderton and Rex Cochrane, Ray Pankhurst and Ted Winslow.
Fellow commentator Jason Tees grew up listening to McDonald calling races on the radio until trackside came on the scene in the mid-90s. He says he's always looked up to McDonald and admires his longevity in the industry.
It's amazing. You know, you try and picture one person outside really that have done a job for 40 years and still been very good at it. You know, most people, they get to that point and they just start declining or they retire, but Davey, he's still one of the most accurate callers that you hear, and you know, it's just a tremendous you know, thing that he's done. I mean, he's taught 40 years non-stop since he started, and that's a huge effort.
McDonald reckons he's still got a couple of good years left in him, but says it won't be up to him when it comes time to call his last race. In a career spanning 40 years, he's taken the highlights along with the low times, calling memorable races and seeing great horses. But it's the people in the racing industry that have had the most impact on the southern caller. Karen, the South Today.
Dunedin police are searching for a man in relation to an aggravated robbery involving a firearm. On Friday, armed police set up a cordon and arrested 2 women at a Maitland Street address. That followed an aggravated robbery at a house in St Kilda earlier that day. The women, aged 32 and 38, are being remanded in custody until a court appearance on Friday. They have interim name suppression until then. It's alleged the pair robbed 4 people of cash while armed with a gun. Police have confirmed they're looking for a man in connection to the incident, although no details about his alleged involvement are being made public at this time. Hordes of Dunedinites joined the city's Chinese community in celebrating the annual Moon Festival yesterday. People of all ages and nationalities took part in craft work and cooking activities and watched traditional performances at the Dunedin Chinese Garden. And a special guest also travelled from Christchurch to participate.
Honouring the harvest in a sense of community. Hundreds of people spent yesterday celebrating the annual Moon Festival at the Dunedin Chinese Garden. A wide variety of participants were involved in activities such as making mooncakes and lanterns and learning calligraphy. Even the Christchurch-based Chinese Consul General visited.
It shows that people really enjoy the festival and enjoy the Chinese culture, especially enjoying, being together to celebrate the festival together with the Chinese communities.
Members of the local Chinese community were celebrating both the Moon Festival and China's National Day, which falls on the 1st of October. Among other performances, the Otago Southland Chinese Association put on a lion dance, and the Chinese Seniors Association showed off a drumming display. It's the second time the Consul General's attended the event, and he says he's honoured to take part.
Our council covers the whole South Island, and Dunedin is the second largest city in South Island, and so whenever the local communities organize some big events at the special occasions, whenever possible, I would certainly like to come here to join with the local people.
Nationally, Chinese visitor numbers jumped almost 28% over the year to July 2016. So while in Dunedin, the Consul General was checking on how the influx of tourists is affecting the city.
Just now, after I talked with several of the staff working in the garden, it seemed to me that they have more Chinese visitors who came to the Chinese gardens.
It took the Dunedin Chinese Garden staff over 6 weeks to prepare for this year's Moon Festival, with a team of 15 keeping things moving on the day. They say, despite the less than stellar weather, more than 700 people attended. Jack Conroy, The South Today.
Still to come on The South Today, we meet one of Invercargill's mayoral candidates.
Hi, my name is 104. I believe that Together, we can build a brighter future for Dunedin. I'm presenting two major infrastructure proposals that won't cost the ratepayer a single cent. The first is a flood protection scheme for South Dunedin based on successfully used displacement tent systems overseas. The second is a major new redevelopment of our harborside area to create a world-class community space. Vote 104 and let's build a brighter future together. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Doug Hall. I stood for council in the 2013 election and got elected. The achievements I've been part of in the last 3 years have been of a great benefit to Dunedin City. Reducing debt, improving contracts and better liaison with the general public. To further reduce debt and better management of all contracts. Vote Doug Hall, first choice for council.
Hello, I'm Isla McLeod and I'm standing for the Dunedin City Council. I'm recently returned from Christchurch where I spent 2 terms on a community board as Deputy Chair or Chair. I was on the Water Management Zone Committee and I was on the board or a member of several environmental groups. And now I'd like to use all of that knowledge and experience for the good of Dunedin. And if it's good for Dunedin, it's good for you.
Hello, my name is Malcolm Dixon. I'm standing for the Dunedin City Council. I've been in retail for 40 years in Dunedin and I would like to see some changes in the city. I'm passionate about growing business opportunities in Dunedin. Transport and parking issues are important to me and flooding and management of city assets, especially in South Dunedin area, are a major issue. So remember to vote for Malcolm Dixon at Dunedin City Council.
We need your help to rebuild our animal centre urgently. Please give a little today.
Hi, I'm Joshua Perry, currently working in social services, and I am standing for the Dunedin City Council. I support improvements in student housing, business investment, waterfront development, and South Dunedin flood resolution. Dunedin should be accessible for all, and if I'm elected, I will make Dunedin a vibrant destination.
Authorised by Joshua Perry, 95 North Road, North East Valley.
Hi, I'm Dave Cole, Mayor of Dunedin, and together we're building a great city, not just for now, but for the future. And I'm committed to creating a positive legacy of sensible investments, sustainable businesses, an emphasis on infrastructure and environment, healthier homes, and your community well-being. A future our kids can be really proud to inherit. If you want the same positive future, please mark 1 for Dave Cole for Mayor and return your voting form. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Dave Yardley and I'm standing for the Otago Regional Council. Two of Otago's greatest resources are our outstanding natural landscape and our capability for agriculture. Getting the balance right between preservation of that landscape and intensification of farming is a real challenge. To meet that challenge, we need a firm understanding of both our environment and our land-based businesses. I have that understanding to ensure that our landscape and farming can coexist in harmony for generations to come. A vote for Dave Yardley is a vote for reason, balance and integrity.
Hello, my name is Anne Galloway and I'm standing for election to Dunedin City Council. I have lived and worked in Dunedin for 20 years and I'm very proud of this city. And I do know that at times there are very difficult decisions that need to be made. We need councillors who care about the people, about their issues such as healthcare, housing and an ageing population. Vote for me and I will do my best for you and for Dunedin.
Your voting papers for the Dunedin City Council and Otago Regional Council elections are in the mail and should be with you soon. If you don't have your papers by the 22nd of September, call 477 4000 or drop into the DCC Customer Services Centre in the Octagon. Please read the instructions carefully to make sure your vote counts. More information about candidates and how the voting systems work is available at dunedin.govt.nz/elections. Remember, you have the right to vote. Don't be left out. Vote early.
Welcome back. Well, as part of the South Today's local body elections coverage, we're also profiling the candidates standing for mayor in Invercargill. And tonight, Holly Buchanan brings you the first of our interviews with the three candidates.
Joining me now, standing for the Mayor of Invercargill, Karen Arnold. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Holly.
So tell us first, why are you running for the mayoralty?
Well, I've had a long-standing passion for local government and the Invercargill City Council, going back to my days as a journalist for the Southland Times. So I used to cover the City Council round, and I did several investigations into council affairs. I won 2 National Media Awards for that. And so my interest in the council has been for the past 15 or so years. I'm a councillor, and now, having spent 3 years on the council, I think it's time that there was a fresh leadership, an injection of youth, and I really want to lead the city into a brighter future.
What leadership experience can you bring to the table?
Well, I think as soon as you're elected to council, you're straight away a community leader. And so I've had my 3 years not only as a councillor debating around the table, but I have chaired meetings before, including a joint committee involving representatives from the Southland District, Gore District and the Invercargill City Councils. So I think naturally I'm a leader, but I also have that experience, especially from the past 3 years.
What do you see as the top 2 issues currently facing the Invercargill City Council?
For me, there's a distinct 2 issues. The first one is I really want to see a culture change throughout the entire council organisation. So we've got the longest serving mayor of any city, we've got a very long serving chief executive, and we've got a councillor who's been on council since 1974. We haven't had a change in leadership this century. And so when you've got people that have been entrenched in the organisation for so long, you've got an attitude of, this is how we do things. You know, you conform, you fit in. If you don't, you know, you won't have. And so I think it's time that we have an injection of new leadership so that we can go forward and be a better council. The other issue that we are facing is that in February 2018, our incumbent chief executive's contract comes to an end. And so within the first 18 months of the next council term, we could be looking at employing a new chief executive. And whether the incumbent wants reappointed or not, we don't know at this stage. But I think if we want to attract the right calibre of candidate for that role, then we need to present ourselves as a modern, people and future-focused council so that we'll attract the right candidate.
What do you consider to be the core functions of the Invercargill City Council?
Well, I was thinking about this, and I think if you look back to the Christchurch earthquakes, when everything, you know, is devastated, you look at what core functions have to be put on, and so you're looking at your sewerage and your water supplies. So those are the 2 most important things, and it's once you've got those things that really affect people's lives and health and well-being that you then begin to build again. So I think if you look at things like that, then our core functions are our infrastructure, which takes up 80% of our budgets anyway, and it's only when those core services are being met and run properly that you can start, you know, thinking outside and developing more. So I think that's a good example of what our priorities should be.
How do you feel the current council is performing?
Well, we finished up for the last time on Tuesday. It was my first term, and I think when I went on, I was sort of like, you know, gung-ho, and I really wanted to make a difference. And I may have been regarded as a bit of an assertive, aggressive person, but I did my own personal learning, and I've learnt to work collaboratively with my colleagues. And I think we had an understanding that you could have a good debate around the council chamber, but that didn't have to flow on into communications afterwards. So I think in terms of how we functioned, there was we had mutual respect for each other, and I thought it was good.
As Mayor, what would you do differently?
As Mayor, well, quite frankly, I'd be full-time. I think the role deserves that. I think the remuneration package reflects that it should be a full-time role. I would have a proper office with a desk and a chair and maybe a computer terminal and a phone. And I think I would be more engaged into the day-to-day presence at council, and I think I would be a stronger leader at council table and also be more involved in setting targets and expectations for our Chief Executive.
What do you consider to be the core function of the Mayor?
Well, I think there's two main things. Of course, the Mayor is a figurehead of both the council and the city. And so you have that promotional aspect where you must promote the city for the good of the city. But as well, you are the chair of the board. You're the Mayor of the council. And I think you have a responsibility and obligations to be a strong leader for your councillors as well.
Do you have the skills to lead the council?
I think I do, and I don't think I'd stand if I didn't. And those skills are different for a lot of things because at the end of the day we're local government politicians, and so you need to be a politician. And that requires different skills to, say, running a business or being the chair of a board, because we've got to influence our colleagues to get, decisions over the line. So, I've learnt to schmooze when I've needed to, and I've learnt to niggle away at councillors, my colleagues. You have to do that in politics just to get the outcome that you want.
Where do you think Invercargill's future lies?
Well, Invercargill's future is always tied to the rural community. So as a city we do rise and fall depending on how well our rural sector's doing. So when dairying's doing good, for example, we boom. And so I think Invercargill, along with Southland, we have to have a diverse economy, and we need to be able to still survive when the lows come about. And so I think Invercargill's future is one where we are innovative, and I think those outcomes will come through the Southland Regional Development Strategy, which will be unveiled in the next couple of months.
What do you love about Invercargill?
Well, I'm an Invercargill girl, so I just love the people, and I love the pace of life, and I love how we can access most anything that you need to have a good life, but it's only ever 5 or 10 minutes drive away.
Why should Invercargill ratepayers and residents vote for you?
Well, I'm fresh blood, but I'm experienced in local government, and I think that's really important. I don't think you can be mayor and spend the first 3 years learning the ropes of local government, because it's really complex. And again, my desire is genuine. It comes from within, and so I think I've got the credentials, I've got the background, and I've got the youth and the vision for the future.
Karen Arnold, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Holly.
And after the break on the South Today, we'll take a look at weather for Tuesday.
Hello, my name is Anne Galloway and I'm standing for election to Dunedin City Council. I have lived and worked in Dunedin for 20 years and I'm very proud of this city. And I do know that at times there are very difficult decisions that need to be made. We need councillors who care about the people, about their issues such as healthcare, housing and an ageing population. Vote for me and I will do my best for you and for Dunedin.
Hello, I'm Isla McLeod and I'm standing for the Dunedin City Council. I'm recently returned from Christchurch, where I spent 2 terms on a community board as Deputy Chair or Chair. I was on the Water Management Zone Committee and I was on the board or a member of several environmental groups. And now I'd like to use all of that knowledge and experience for the good of Dunedin. And if it's good for Dunedin, it's good for you.
Hi, my name is Ronald Fong. I believe that together we can build a brighter future for Dunedin. I'm presenting 2 major infrastructure proposals that won't cost the ratepayer a single cent. The first is a flood protection scheme for South Dunedin based on successfully used displacement tent systems overseas. The second is a major new redevelopment of our harborside area to create a world-class community space. Vote Ronald Fong and let's build a brighter future together. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Malcolm Dixon. I'm standing for the Dunedin City Council. I've been in retail for 40 years in Dunedin and I would like to see some changes in the city. I'm passionate about growing business opportunities in Dunedin. Transport and parking issues are important to me, and flooding and management of city assets, especially in South Dunedin area, are a major issue. So remember to vote for Malcolm Dixon at Dunedin City Council.
We need your help to rebuild our animal centre urgently. Please give a little today.
Hi, I'm Dave Yardley and I'm standing for the Otago Regional Council. Two of Otago's greatest resources are our outstanding natural landscape and our capability for agriculture. Getting the balance right between preservation of that landscape and intensification of farming is a real challenge. To meet that challenge, we need a firm understanding of both our environment and our land-based businesses. I have that understanding to ensure that our landscape and farming can coexist in harmony for generations to come. A vote for Dave Yardley is a vote for reason, balance and integrity.
Hi, I'm Doug Hall. I stood for council in the 2013 election and got elected. The achievements I've been part of in the last 3 years have been of a great benefit to Dunedin City. Reducing debt, improving contracts and better liaison with the general public. To further reduce debt and better management of all contracts. Vote Doug Hall, first choice for council.
Hi, I'm Joshua Perry, currently working in social services, and I am standing for the Dunedin City Council. I support improvements in student housing, business investment, waterfront development, and South Dunedin flood restoration. Dunedin should be accessible for all, and if I'm elected, I will make Dunedin a vibrant destination.
Authorised by Joshua Perry, 95 North Road, North East Valley.
Hi, I'm Dave Cole, Mayor of Dunedin, and together we're building a great city, not just for now, but for the future. And I'm committed to creating a positive legacy of sensible investments, sustainable businesses, an emphasis on infrastructure and environment, healthier homes, and your community well-being. A future our kids can be really proud to inherit. If you want the same positive future, please mark 1 for Dave Cole for Mayor and return your voting form. Thanks.
Your voting papers for the Dunedin City Council and Otago Regional Council elections are in the mail and should be with you soon. If you don't have your papers by the 22nd of September, call 477 4000 or drop into the DCC Customer Services Centre in the Octagon. Please read the instructions carefully to make sure your vote counts. More information about candidates and how the voting systems work is available at dunedin.govt.nz/elections. Remember, you have the right to vote. Don't be left out. Vote early.
Welcome back, and now recapping tonight's top stories on The South Today. The Dunedin City Council's plans for a hub in South Dunedin are likely to be a topic for the next council, as a conclusive decision wasn't reached today. Southland racing commentator Dave McDonald is marking 40 years in the job and still calling races at Invercargill's Ascot Park. And about 700 people have been celebrating the annual Chinese Moon Festival in Dunedin with dancing, craft and calligraphy. And here is tomorrow's weather.
The South Today weather update proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorns Emu Oil.
Here is our southern view as taken of Emily Seiderberg Place. To the situation, a ridge of high pressure spreads slowly across the South Island. It's leaving us with fine weather. That means a fine day for Balclutha, Gore and Lumsden, highs of around 13 and 14 degrees. Fine weather for these towns, also expecting 13 or 14 degrees. And some cloud about for Oamaru and Timaru, both on 13. And Dunedin tonight, some low cloud, otherwise fine with a low of 3. Tomorrow and Wednesday, sunny periods developing, light nor'easters, low cloud morning and night with a high of 13 tomorrow and also on Wednesday. And in Invercargill tonight, fine with frosts in sheltered areas and a low of -1. Tomorrow and Wednesday, fine with light winds, fog patches possible at night, a high of 13 tomorrow and 14 on Wednesday. And that's all from the team here at the South Today for tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.